When you hear someone say they are lonely, what are the first images that come to mind? Is it a socially awkward person being the butt of every foul joke? Is it someone scrolling through social media craving what isn't but could be? Is it someone flipping through past memories, reminiscing on what was but no longer is? Or are your lenses more fine-tuned? Do you picture an extrovert being the life of the party? On a basic level, when we talk about loneliness, which is usually a negative feeling, we often use words such as alone, solitude, and isolation interchangeably. More often, there can be crossovers, but with a deeper look, we can see where the lines are drawn. For example, solitude should be seen as a positive and in most cases, a voluntary practice. We can reap the joys and benefits of spending quality time by ourselves. This does not negate the fact that we still have strong social connections with others. It's not a juggling act. Instead, it's maintaining balance, allowing ourselves the freedom to say, I need time for myself and by myself, guilt-free. The person in this situation can be said to be alone, but not lonely. On the other hand, isolation can be seen as a more negative, involuntary chain of events that causes a downward spiral into the pits of loneliness. Loneliness has a universally accepted definition, but its effects, causes, and symptoms are unique to each individual. Outside the dictionary definition, many people describe loneliness as a crippling feeling, a one-way trip into depression and isolation. A lack of meaningful connections, the feeling of constantly being on the outside, never feeling like they are a part of anything, a feeling of emptiness and longing. Loneliness can manifest in several ways, and conclusions about the person in question should not be drawn too quickly. Let's trade shoes for a minute. In this scenario, you are an elderly woman. Your husband has recently died. You develop a strange coping mechanism. You randomly dial 911 to report non-existing crimes. How did you get to this situation? Can you remember? Does it even matter? You're desperate to create a false sense of companionship to alleviate the pain and fill the void. In your situation, your actions are justified and quite normal to you. Without context, to the nosy neighbors and concerned onlookers, you're crazy, wasting police time, selfishly craving attention. Now, imagine you're a child. The family are not really big on celebrating birthdays, which is fine. On this particular birthday, your mum and dad completely forget to say happy birthday. As the day closes, they remember. They give you a limp-hearted birthday acknowledgement. At this point, you're quite emotional. You feel the ground beneath you open. You beg it swallows you up. It doesn't. So, you reside to your bedroom to proceed with a private celebration where you light a candle and sing happy birthday to yourself. Tears flow, but not of joy. Your birthday was overshadowed by the realization, even in the midst of familiar faces, you are still alone. The topic of loneliness should be dealt with empathy. What may sound ridiculous to some is a real struggle for others. Candidly speaking, we may even struggle to understand how someone got to the state they're in. But sensitivity is needed in order for us to deconstruct the building blocks of loneliness. Life is full of everything we expect and everything we don't expect. Things are in our control just as much as they are not. We go through periods of ups and downs. We say things like, the good outweighs the bad, and nothing lasts forever. This can be applied to loneliness. People feel lonely for different reasons, at different times, and for varying lengths of time. It can be a fleeting feeling, an ongoing on-off battle. In some cases, it can be quite extreme. Not all types of loneliness are made equally. Emotional loneliness is usually caused by losing someone of close value and importance to us. Individuals who struggle to make deep, meaningful emotional connections and feel emotionally disconnected from the people they interact with may also be suffering from this type of loneliness. Transitional/situational loneliness is a result of feeling lonely due to specific reasons or on specific occasions. Let's explore the following scenario. Life is good. You're surrounded by the people whom you love. Your days are full of joy and laughter. Then suddenly, your mood starts to shift. Your situation hasn't changed, but but something has. You look at the calendar. A specific date causes an emotional trigger. The brain begins to project memories of the past. An anniversary commemorating the death of someone close and dear to you is approaching fast. Occasions such as this can arouse the feeling of loneliness. Chronic loneliness is a more serious and concerning type of loneliness. Left unchecked, it can lead to serious mental and physical health issues. In a nutshell, people who suffer from this type of loneliness say they experience this feeling for a sustained period of time. As we have seen with the other types of loneliness, triggers are usually caused by the same reasons. What makes this different is the person can't seem to adjust to the current situation they find themselves in. Unable to lift themselves out of the hole they are stuck in, the weight becomes heavier, further pushing them down into a state of isolation. Those who struggle with chronic loneliness are said to have an increased sensitivity to perceived hostility and rejection. Within social gatherings, they could misread or misjudge situations, creating grounds for mistrust, further creating a wedge between maintaining relationships, inadvertently cultivating the growth of loneliness. What misconceptions do you have? Do you tend to lean more towards the notion that loneliness is mostly linked to older people? A study conducted and published by Hartman Medical Supply in 2022 found that 40% of young people stated they feel lonely compared to the 27% in the over 75 group. Even more fascinating is that the loneliest group in the UK is people between the age of 16 to 24. I hope we can begin to see the pattern with loneliness, which is there is no real pattern. Loneliness is something that we can all experience at different levels, ranging from minute to severe. It's natural for us to think loneliness affects only a certain type of person. Unfortunately, this is just not true. Hopefully, we are more aware of the degrees to which loneliness can reach, how serious it can get, and those at risk, which is everyone.